What's up, world? What's going on? It's your main man. Right back at that ass again. Here's another one. Just want to make this brief video, man. I've been out of pocket for a while. For people who don't know that what that lingo means, out of pocket means I've been gone for a while. All right. Work for this store, man. They got robbed by this crackhead while I was on shift. He up here. Crackhead robbed the store, man. I can't say which store it is because they trying to keep it under wraps, but it's a major company, Fortune 500. But it may or may not come out in the press, man. I'm not totally sure, but uh, just want to make this brief video about this topic, man. This topic is pretty much about why men fuck women and don't call back the next day. Why men fuck and don't call back the next day. Now, granted, some young cats out here, man, are trying to be players. They're trying to follow, the next new trend or whatever. So that may be the reason why some guys, have sex with females and don't call back the next day. It's like a trend thing. It's like with black females learning how to just shake their ass or twerk during a dance. It's a sometimes it could be a trend thing. Guys trying to find themselves, trying to be pimps, players, whatever. I went through the phase myself, but guys who are older and sometimes who have sex with females and they don't call back the next day, it could be for a variation of reasons, many reasons, and it's not always because uh, they're trying to be players. Okay, some guys see things that females don't. They always talk about females being very observative and they notice small things and they're so smart and blah blah blah. It's like, okay, if females are so smart, why do they do some of the dumbest shit? But don't want to really get into that. But I'm just saying there's some pros and cons. There's some things females are good at, some things men are good at. And men are good at observing too. A man might notice something that you as a woman may ignore. Of course, he can't approach you with it because you will argue him down back and forth. And he doesn't want to go through the stress of arguing with you. So he'll just ignore it and then just do what he's gonna do anyway, like not fucking call you back. And I'll go down a list of reasons why some guys don't call females back after they have sex. Number one of the first reasons can be, and I'm not saying it always is, but especially with certain black females, if you don't wash your ass. Now, when you take your panties off, some females don't shower as much as they should. I heard like a lot of Brazilian women. I haven't been with a woman from Brazil, but I heard a lot of Brazilian women take showers 3 times, 4 times, sometimes 5 times a day. Some women in the States aren't nearly as clean. Especially with the weaves, some women don't wash their hair for months. So you don't wash your hair, you probably don't wash your pussy. So when you take your drawers off, you don't wash your pussy. If your pussy stink, a guy is supposed to ignore that. Like this one guy said he told his female like you should take a shower, your pussy stinks, and she tried to cut him. This one clip shows this female trying to ride this man's face, and she smells so bad he gets from under her crotch and he spits up, and she gets mad and pushes him off and walks away. She's mad at him because he is acknowledging that she stinks, right? And she's mad at him for that. She's not mad at herself for not taking a shower and trying to get on this man's face. She's mad at him for acknowledging that she stinks, that the pussy stinks. And a lot of black females, they don't see gynecologists regularly. They don't see gynecologists regularly. They don't know what's going on with their pussy, right? So they're not getting daily checkups. Or not saying you have to get daily checkups, but you want to see your gynecologist at least so many times a year. The average woman from other races, they do this, right? Mostly women who do this are women who are middle class. But sometimes when you take off your drawers, he may not say anything, and he may still have sex with you because he's horny. But he remembers that bad smell, man. And some guys aren't with that, and they say, okay, if you smell bad like that, then usually your place is probably gonna stink. You're just a wayward, a filthy female, and there's a lot of them out here, man. I've had a number myself. A lot of guys cannot tell you. If they're honest, they'll tell you at least some of the women they've been with smell bad. The pussy smelled bad, and so that will make a man not call you. And it's not always that reason. Number two, your attitude. Now it could be any one of these things. Sometimes it's all of these things, but any one of these things can actually cause a guy not to call you back. Your attitude. Like I had a female coworker. This guy wouldn't call her back after they spent a weekend together. She's older female. Um, Basically, men notice certain things that you as a female may not notice. Um, some of your, if he spends a weekend with you, say the sex was decent, the sex was good, but you have a bossy attitude, or certain things you said were seemed kind of sly. That man is thinking in his head, he's picturing, because the average man, don't get me wrong, most men out here aren't getting all the females they want. And it's hard for most men out here to get a female consistently. Most men would rather just, even some young men would rather just have one female and have sex whenever he wants versus having to find multiple females. Because don't get me wrong, there's certain guys out here that are getting pretty much, I'm not saying any woman they want. Some guys are getting any woman they want. You got some guys who are getting your alpha males who are getting pretty much any woman they want within reason. Say they have a certain preference, and most women tend to gravitate towards them. So if they like tens, they get nothing but no lower than nines or 8.5s. They tend to just get the women they want. They don't have to keep one woman. But that's very few men out here. That's like 10%, maybe 5% of the population. Most men have a hard time approaching women, getting to know new women because, most guys aren't taught to, be that social. Where that's not just being an extrovert. That's you having to go through a lot of women and face a lot of rejection, but it just rolls off your back, and you're used to getting multiple numbers from multiple women. You do have alpha male pickup artists who are like that, but that's a small number. Most guys would rather have one female and then just have sex whenever they want. But some females can pick up on that and they can control your sex, or how much sex you get when they know that you're dependent on them for sex. So that's not always a good thing. But my point is, most guys would like a relationship, but when they see how a female acts, if she's acting pissy, she has a bad mood, she said a few things slick, see a guy keeps that upstairs. Okay, she said one thing that was slick that I didn't like. Okay, I'll store that. I might not say anything, but I'll store that right here. Then 2 hours later, she said something else that was slick. I'll store that, but I won't say anything to her. Because even if I say something to her and address her about that, she's gonna argue me up and down, saying that, oh, what are you talking about? Or no, I don't do that, or blah blah blah. So he'll just keep a mental note. Then when the weekend is over, you won't hear from him again because he didn't dump your ass, right? So a bad attitude. Number three, sometimes men don't like females, especially alpha men, don't like females who talk a lot. Some men like to think. If you are always talking about you and your day, the average guy might get bored. He doesn't want to hear all that shit. So a lot of women out here, especially in the West, they talk way too much. Shut the fuck up sometimes. Always talking about themselves, who they like. That gets boring. You just talking about you. A lot of alpha women will say, "Well, baby, what about you?" They'll inquire about the man. Most women just talk. Got a woman at our job, talk, 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 and they think that means they're being alpha. No, you're being you're not an alpha female. You're just being a nuisance, and a lot of alpha men are gonna shrug you off because you don't have any strength in your femininity. You talk too much. Another thing, a lot of men don't like women who complain all the time. Now everybody complains to a point. When you're always complaining and you always have stories about it being his fault, and it's never your fault, and you always complain, men don't always like that. You're always blaming things on other people. You're never taking responsibilities for your own behavior. And women's biggest argument with men is, "Oh, you never take responsibility." But women take less responsibility these days than anybody, right? Every time you hear a woman tell a story about her having a problem, usually it's the man's fault. It's not her fault. She didn't play any role in it. Men think about stuff like that, which will leave you by yourself. A woman trying to be too pushy. Always thinking she has the right answer. It's a number of things, man. Thinking that, isn't this better? I can let's do it like this. I like it the way I have it. Leave it the fuck alone. It's been like this for years. That will make a man just turn off. He won't want to have anything to do with you because you're not respecting a ritual or a tradition that he's had for many years. You got some women that'll come in a man. You got some women who will come in a man's life and try to change things, try to change ways that he's had since he was a kid. Now, granted, we want to make each other better, but you don't want to change somebody. What if someone came in your life and tried to turn it upside down and just change it because they thought it was better? No. Try to work with that. If you can't work with that, then maybe you and that man aren't compatible. But that's another thing or another way that you're going to find yourself alone, and you're going to find yourself lonely and with a house filled with cats. So a lot of women are out here complaining about it's men's fault and this and that. But we live in a society where females can't be called out for their bullshit. You have story, and it's not all their fault. You have stories like Snow White and the Wizard of Oz and all this shit that says women are perfect and you can't fault them for anything. And so if they're perfect, they're beyond reproach. So normally when you try to shed light on things, they'll shut a man, especially during these days when women are the new man and all this other bullshit. It's even worse. So men can't really correct women like they should, because and it's a new thing too. It's like a woman is a woman before she's a human being. Now as humans, we all have faults, but a woman has no faults. But is a woman first or a human being first? The Bible says humans are imperfect, but women walk around like they're perfect. But what is it the sex first? Before you're a woman, you're a human being. So, and human beings are naturally imperfect. But females have to parade around like they're perfect. So you can't check them. It's hard to educate them and let them know, hey, you're wrong. Hey, your pussy stinks. You need to wash your ass. Hey, your breath stinks. You should brush your teeth. You can't say these things to them because you're being mean. You're not being thoughtful, so on and so forth. Especially in the black community, it's times 10 is worse. Because literally it's like the women have taken over, right? And that's a real unstable environment, as you can see with all these teenagers running off killing each other. That's an unstable community. So community. So basically, man, I was thinking about this earlier on when I was getting ready for work, man. It's just something to think about. Some females sit there. I know they sit there lonely. They masturbate. 'Cause they masturbate just as much as men. They have their sex toys, and sometimes when they get older, they try to reflect on why they're alone, that they don't want to settle. Uh, and here's the thing: a lot of you have pushed away really good men because you couldn't reflect on your own bad behaviors. You pushed away good guys who were good guys, but your own mindset fucked the situation up because you can't be checked. You can't be forced to look within yourself to see what's fucked up about you. So of course you reflect everything on a man. I mean, just think about it. If you're a female, if you've been with 40 different men or had sex with 30 or 40 different men, and the reason why you couldn't marry any of those men is because it was all their fault, you're in denial. It's no way that's possible. It cannot be all their fault. Because men can admit if they're wrong more so than women because we always talk that we're dogs, we're dirty, we're low down. So it's easier for us to admit shit. But they can't admit anything, which is very detrimental to their mental health and their stability. So, and we, society needs to think about things like that, man. Like I said, when white society catches a cold, the black society catches pneumonia. So it's twice as bad for black females or the Dominican females or African American females being the lowest of the socioeconomic totem pole. So just want to make this brief video, man. If you're a woman and you're wondering why you're not getting calls back, sometimes it might be right to, instead of you calling a man a dog or saying X, Y, and Z, try to reflect on your own behaviors and try to play devil's advocate. I mean, is there something you could do better? You know, what about sanitation? Or what about a better attitude? Or what about maybe some self help, positive affirmations? Do you always complain? Do you always whine? Do you always bitch? Do you always have these rules and regulations that are unrealistic? You won't do this, you will do that. Because that will have you lonely for long periods of time. And statistics show that my generation, these females have a much harder time getting married than women in my grandmother's era. And some of them are more corporate females, but they're lonely, and the suicide rate for females is going sky high. So it's time to self-reflect. But again, this is your boy, the author, man. Be sure to like, subscribe. I welcome all the new subscribers. Again, I only say things. I only make videos when I have something to say. I'm not like a lot of these other guys on here just making videos just to try to get views, just trying to get famous, or they just talking bullshit, or every video is about some other bullshit, or they just talking about shit that they don't know about. I had some guy made a video about what does it mean to be an alpha male. It's like, man, if you don't know what it means to be an alpha male, don't even bring it up, because that means you're not one. If you don't know what it means to lead, if you don't know that it means to sometimes be alone, if you don't know what it means to have choice and who you want to date, wanting to be dominant, if you don't know that, man, just ask somebody, man. Don't make whack ass videos. But yeah, again, this is your boy, the author. And I'm signing out.